We've been doing this globally for 30 years. 30 years. We wrote a book called SOAR Selling with McGregor because they heard about it. And Bill Condon and Matt McGregor are two people who will tell you, among many, many, who say, now this stuff works and it's ethical. So here we go.
Good day, Industrial Advisors listeners, and thank you for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, please do so by clicking subscribe wherever you podcast. Click the like button and hit the bell if you want notifications of when we put up new content. Leave us a comment about anything we discuss here today or general comments about the show. Now, let's get into it.
Welcome to our Industrial Advisors podcast. We have Bill Condon and Matt McGregor here, and Dave Hibbard with us again on the second series with Dave. Our first one was on mindset, which was outstanding. And this next one is going to be centered around producing results, which ultimately is what matters at the end of the day. So Dave, great to have you on again. I've seen you produce great results with people that you train throughout my career. So very excited to dive into this topic with you. So let's start there. Open up the topic for us on producing results and kind of how you develop that.
Okay, this is, I call this a Life of Choice podcast, producing results, because everything that I'm doing is about providing a life of choice for people or giving them tools to have a life of choice. Before I start, I want to thank Colliers in Seattle, Bill Condon, Matt McGregor, and Sydney for this work they did. Matt and Bill are friends of mine for years now, and I have immense respect for their talent. If you're looking for one of the best commercial brokers in anywhere in this country, these guys can hook you up if you want to work in Seattle with them. But they are the best you're going to get, and they have high integrity and they produce results, and they're creative. So thanks to Bill and thanks to Matt and Sydney for your help on producing this podcast. Okay, so let's talk about producing results. And what we're going to talk about, you can produce results lots of ways. I don't care how you do it. Doesn't matter. The bottom line is you have to produce results if you're going to be in the world of sales, particularly, or brokerage, or leadership even. Results matter. I believe that if you can produce results and you have the right mindset locked into it, you can have a life of choice. You can generate that. So this podcast is about the mechanics of reaching a decision maker, implementing SOAR Selling, which is a book that my partner and I wrote. It's a telephone approach for reaching decision makers, because no one likes to prospect. No one. It just sucks. I mean, I don't even like it. I wrote a book on it, but I can tell you that at least you know what? When I was a kid, I'd go to the dentist. When I was young, they didn't have Novocaine. Then they got Novocaine, and you'd think you'd want to go. I still didn't want to go. I still didn't like it. But prospecting's tough. So let's make it easy. And one of the reasons why picking up a telephone or reaching out through LinkedIn or whatever you do is important, and even if you're a senior sales or broker on this call, the reason it matters, and I live this my own life and have lived it, is that all oil wells dry up. They all dry up. And if they don't dry up, they go over to the competition. You just never keep a well. Doesn't matter. You've got to keep prospecting. Even if you're a big shot, you've got a bunch of cash rolling in. If you're not reaching out for more clients on some kind of basis, maybe not like you did when you're a rookie, but all oils dry up and you can lose deals. I've lost 2 deals for $2 million a piece for each of our company from those deals. And I thought I'd never, they never go dry, but they did. It woke me up a long time ago. Okay, here are 5 things you can do to reach a decision maker using the telephone. And now I get that they're not all in the office these days. They might not be there, but a lot of these tactics will still apply. And when they do get back in the office, they'll all apply. So take it as you hear it. And let me give you a little warning on this and fire a shot over the bow. What I'm going to share with you, you're going to hear probably some of you and say, that's ridiculous. You can't do that. That wouldn't work. I got it. We've been doing this globally for 30 years. 30 years. We wrote a book called SOAR Selling with McGregor because they heard about it. And Bill Condon and Matt McGregor are 2 people who will tell you, among many, many, who say, now this stuff works and it's ethical. So here we go.
By the way, we have all of our new hires read that book before they start.
And by the way, Dave, before you roll into this, I'm just going to tell a quick story to
Sure.
set the listener up for this. I would consider myself, I challenge anybody that has read or studied sales more than me. I've done a massive amount of stuff.
Lost audio on Matt. Yeah. But with the story Matt was going to tell was when Dave came in, one of our trainings, we had our team in there and we did 15 calls, and following these tactics that Dave's about to go through, we had 12 out of 15 calls result in meetings, which is off the charts, unheard of. This stuff works, and it's proven. And like Dave said, it's 30 years of history with it. But 12 out of the 15 dials we made, we ended up with meetings, which, you can't beat those results. So Dave, jump in, bud.
Well, I'm going to go back to Matt real quick. Matt, are you good?
I'm back.
Okay,
Sorry about the technical difficulty. So Bill, it sounded like finished up, what I was outlining, but I will say, percentage wise in my career, and I consider myself pretty dang good on the phone, I would say, 1 for 25 dials for an appointment. And that's a cold call, not a warm call. So the fact that you brought a bunch of young brokers into a room and had them in day 2 dialing for 15 dials to get 12 meetings is absolutely remarkable from any statistical sales process I've ever seen.
Yeah. I normally go 15 for 15, but whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you have a list of your parents and your siblings, they usually take the call.
That's not a cold call, Billy.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah.
All right, let's go. Here we go. Now, listen, I said you be ready. There's some weird stuff you're going to think in there. Not to me, not to those that lived it, but it's kind of weird. So how do you get to the decision maker? Here's 5 crushing techniques, ideas for you. Number 1, get to the executive assistant to the president, owner, CEO, or partner. The executive assistant is your partner. The receptionist is your gatekeeper. Get that? The gatekeeper is the one that answers the phone when you first roll in. The executive assistant to the president can open the door. They're not a decision maker, but they have huge referral and respect in the organization. That's where you go. That's where you start. You're not calling. Listen, if you call for the real estate director or the CEO or the IT person or whoever you're calling for, everybody's going there. Are you serious? I mean, if there's 100 people in line to get an ice cream cone, wouldn't you go around the side door? So it just doesn't make sense to me. Why would you do that? So get to the EAP. You're calling for the executive assistant to the president, but you don't know their name, but you know the president's name. So when you're calling in, you're asking for, Mary Smith or Bill Smith or whatever the gender is of the president. And then they're not going to answer, more likely the executive assistant will answer. That's where you're heading. Now, how do you get past the gatekeeper? Step number 2, because you can't get to the EAP, as I call it, executive assistant to the president, if you can't get past the gatekeeper. Here's some techniques. This is what they do to you, these gatekeepers. But this is like mind-blowing stuff. Listen, this is where salespeople get crushed. There's 2 sections. One is on these questions, which we call chip questions. I used to call them death questions because it was the death of the call. But they're chip questions because in receptionist's mind, gatekeeper's mind, they have a chip in there of what they're going to ask, and they don't even know they're asking it oftentimes anymore. I went to Starbucks once. I got in line. There were 2 guys ahead of me. The first guy said, I'll have a black coffee. And the person back there said, room for cream. He said, no. Second person said, I'll have a venti regular coffee. And the gal said, room for cream. He said, no, I'm in line 3. I think I like cream. So I step up. I said, I'll have a coffee, a venti coffee with room for cream, please. And they gave me the coffee. They took it over, no room for cream. Are you serious? Are you serious? I wanted to go back and say, excuse me, but I saw you ask everybody room for cream. I said room for cream. You didn't give me room for cream. Why would you ask me room for cream if you're not going to give me room for cream? And they would have said, sir, I'm chipped. They told me to say that when I started. I don't even know I'm saying that anymore. My apologies. Let me get you some cream. You get it? So most people, when they've been in a job for a while, are chipped. They're told what to do, but they forget about it. That's so right. Here's the chip questions they're going to ask you when you ask for Bill Smith, if it's a man. Here's what they'll say. What is this regarding? Ugh, here it comes. Is he or she expecting your call? What company are you with? Is not so bad if it's like Dialexis, my company, because they don't know what that means. But here comes the death when they say, well, what does your company do? And when I say, well, we're in sales training. We're not interested. Click. Or is this a sales call? Those are the 4 questions that crush getting past gatekeepers. That's right. What is this regarding? Is he or she expecting your call? What company you're with and what does your company do? And is this a sales call? That's it. Bam. And you don't know what to do. And we don't preach that you should lie. You're not supposed to lie. You can't do it. It's not ethical selling, but you have to say something. So what can you say? When I tell you this, you're going to want to get off this podcast, send me a threatening letter. You're going to say it's nuts. Here's what it is. The answer is when they say, what is this regarding? Your response is, just let him know it's a man. Just let him or let her. Just let him know it's regarding you, your name. If it's me, I'm going to say, oh, you know what? Just let him know it's regarding Dave Hibbard. And then after that, you're going to say thank you. And the reason you say thank you is because it ends the call. Totally. It's like, well, I guess the guy's done. You know? So you just say that. What is this regarding? Just let him know it's regarding Dave Hibbard. Thanks. And then they might say, well, will he know who you are? The next point is, I'm sure if you mention Dave Hibbard, it'll be fine. Thank you. Now, guess what? You'll say, oh, but wait a minute. What? They may not do that. 99% do it. Some challenge got it. But how do I know it's going to be fine? Because I've been doing it for 400 years, and it's always been fine.
It is fine. It is fine.
It's never not been fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, because they're not going to go tell that person you're calling anyway because they're on their chip. So it just doesn't matter. Forget it. Just do it, okay? Now, they might also say this. If they don't ask you one of these chip questions, here's what they do. Watch me trap you on this one. They'll say to you, you'll say, Bill Smith, please. And they'll say, I don't believe he's in. Would you like to leave a message? And I don't know how many reps I've trained, brokers, and they'll say, okay, and they hang up. And I say, why didn't you talk to the guy? Well, they said he wasn't in. I said, she didn't say he wasn't in. Yeah. No, I was acting like the receptionist on this role play. They didn't say he wasn't in. Well, what did they say? They didn't even know what that person said. They said, and I'll say it to you in baby style so you get it. I don't believe he's in. If you're dating somebody, say, do you ever go back to see your old boyfriend? And your date says, I don't believe so. I mean, I think you'd hear that. So how come you don't hear it when you prospect? Here's another trap, another one you get. People call and say, hi, I'm calling for Mary Smith, please. And then the operator says, just a moment. And they leave you. And then they come back and say, I'm sorry, she isn't available. Would you like to leave a message? And then they'll say, I'll call back. And they hang up. And then when I'm doing this live dialing in class, and then I'll say, well, why did you hang up? Well, Mary wasn't available. How do you know Mary wasn't available? Well, the operator said she wasn't available. Well, what does not available mean? And they'll tell me this. Well, it means she's trying to not take your call, or she thinks it's a sales call, or she's brushing you off. And I say, are you sure that's what it means? Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Then I'll turn the question around and say to the caller, okay, so let's do it this way. When the operator said she isn't available, what could it mean? Not what does it mean? What could it mean? And then they say to me things like, well, it could mean she's away from her desk, I guess. Could mean she hasn't come in yet. Could mean she's in the office next door in a meeting. Could mean she's back there dead. I don't know what it means, but unless you ask what not available means, you're hanging up. So here's what you're supposed to say when they say he's not available or she's not available. You say this, you repeat this. When you say Mary's not available, is she in a meeting? Has she stepped out? Is she just out today? You give like those maybe three options. And you know what they almost always say? I can't even believe this, you guys. I'll say, when you say she's not available, is she in a meeting? Is she out? Or, you know what they'll say?
What?
Well, she didn't answer her phone. And that usually means she's not in. Usually means, I'm not in a usually means game. Are you serious? I need to make contact. Usually means, or they'll say, well, yeah, she's not available. Is she in a meeting? Is she out? Well, I don't know. I haven't seen her today. Well, that doesn't mean she's not in. Mary's the president. Mary doesn't come to the front and say, hi, you might remember me. I'm Mary, the CEO, and I am checking in. I'm here. They come in by helicopter. They come in by train. They come in by tunnel. They pull in the back in a limo. They don't go to the desk and say, here, slide the little bar over, telling you I'm in. You've got to pursue this. So if they say, well, I haven't seen her today, then we say to you, number 3, ride the bull. Stay on the bull. We call that term, like 8 seconds when you ride a bull. Stay on the bull. How do you stay on the bull? Well, you stay on the bull and pursue Mary. First thing you do is say, well, you guys have a page system. Can you page Mary? We don't have a page system. Okay. Well, who sits near Mary? then might see if she's in the area that could see. Well, I don't know. I'm in another building. Okay. Well, what's Mary's business cell? I'll contact her later. Well, I wouldn't have that number. I'm listing. Well, who would have that number? Well, let me connect you over to Tony. Tony might have it. Or they'll say, I wouldn't have that number, or I can't give that number out. And if they can't give it out, I said, I understand. Gosh, no problem. Why don't I just hold then while you connect me and you can patch me through? I'm still on the bull.
That's right.
I'm still riding the bull. And you say, well, I'll get upset. No, they don't. No, they don't. Sorry. Hate to break your bubble. Like, you don't want to do it. I know. But you want to make contact or hang up and call again. Welcome to 50, 100 calls a day. Got it?
Brilliant.
So that's so simple things to do.
But you can also go to the executive assistant at that point, right?
Well, that's where you go, because then they're going to say, you'll say, well, then connect me to Bill's voicemail if you want to, and the executive assistant will pick up. Here's where you go. Now, remember, the executive assistant is your partner. So we're not going to be saying things like, just let him know it's regarding, I'm sure if you mentioned, we don't do that. We're in the power zone now. We call it the power zone. You're in the power zone. You don't mess around in there at all. None, zero. You just get in there. So you're going to get the executive assistant's going to answer. They're going to say if it's Bill Smith, because they always use that name in the old days. But I don't mean to make it gender directed. There's a lot of women who are operators, a lot of men who are operators, and so on. But in this case, let's say it's you're calling Bill Smith, and Tony picks up the phone and says, Mr. Smith's office, this is Tony. And then I'm going to say, yes, Tony, is Bill in, please? And you know what they're going to say? Who's calling? This is Dave Hibbard. Yes, Dave. You know what they're going to say? He's either not in, or he's on a call, or is he expecting your call? And I'm not going to say, well, just let him know. I'm just going to say, he's not expecting my call, but let me ask you, would he be able to take a call? Well, what is it you are calling about? And then I'm going to qualify and say, well, are you Bill's executive assistant? Because maybe it's a tip. Are you by chance Bill's executive assistant? And they'll say, I am. Then I'm going to say, I don't want to say, oh, well, if you're, never mind, then I'll call back when I get Bill. I don't want to talk to you. No, I'm going to say, you know what? Great. All right, excellent. You know what? Maybe you can help me then. I'm really looking for a little direction. So I'm hoping maybe you can help. Guess what they want to do? They want to help. That's what EAPs do. They want to help. They want to give direction. They know that Bill's not supposed to handle the real estate maybe, or training like I do. So they're going to say, how can I help you? Then I'm going to give them a very brief intro of who I am and what I do, because they got to know where to send me. So I'm going to say, my name's Dave Hibbard. I'm in a company called Dialexis. We're in the sales and leadership training business. And here comes the big key. This is fast to give you this on a podcast, but we'll do it again if you want. But they're going to say, how can I help you? And after I tell them what I do, I'm going to say, I usually speak to the CEO or CFO. Which would you recommend, Tony? In other words, I'm telling them who I want. If I just say, who should I talk to? And they say, oh, let me give you HR. And I think, no, I don't want HR. Got it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Matt, if you're working at a Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors, and a guy like me walks in and says, hey, get one ice cream cone. What's a good flavor to have? And Matt says, well, I think strawberry's good. I can't have strawberry. I'm allergic to berries. All right, well, we got Rocky Road. A lot of people like that. I don't like nuts. I break in a rash on that one too. Well, we got chocolate marshmallow. Yeah, sticky. Don't like it. Well, raspberry. I don't like raspberry either. Pretty soon, Matt's going to say, why don't you just go someplace else? But what if I come into Matt and say, Matt, well, I'm dying to get an ice cream cone. I usually like Rocky Road or strawberry. Which do you think is the best flavor you guys carry of those two? Matt says Rocky Road. Great. That's one go anyway. Got it? But I need him to tell me that's what I should do. Because then when the EAP says, let me connect you over to, Carol, who runs that division that I'm trying to get to, Carol's going to have an assistant that says, what's this regarding? And I don't want to go through that stuff I taught you on the receptionist. I'm just going to say to Carol, gosh, I'm calling for Jack. And she says, well, what is it regarding? Well, I was speaking to Tony in Bill Smith's office, which is scary. And Tony recommended I talk to Jack. So get on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the other thing too, Dave, that you teach in your training is you can book, and we've done it, meetings through the executive assistant with the CEO.
All day long.
Yeah,
I can't even cover all that stuff in this 20 minutes. Yeah.
That's right.
And,
Yeah.
and let me tell you something. People say, why would you want to meet with an executive assistant? Are you kidding me? If you were calling Microsoft and Bill Gates' executive assistant said, yeah, okay, you can drop something off over here and I'll talk to you. Would you go? Are you going to fly to California from Seattle to talk to an executive assistant for a 5,000 square foot industrial building? I don't think so. But there's a place where, why wouldn't you? You're in the castle. You get in. I got into Harrah's in Las Vegas to see a show that no one could get tickets on by going through the executive assistant to the CEO of Harrah's. It's actually, I can't think of his name right now. Gary Loveman. And Gary Loveman is the big dog. And Gary Loveman's assistant at that time was Lee Skinner, who's not there anymore. Lee said, sure, what kind of tickets are you looking for, Dave? And I got 2 seats front center row for the show for $250 total. They picked me up in a limousine and gave me a better suite because I went there. And I didn't lie. I didn't say I was a big gambler. I didn't say I usually go somewhere else. I didn't say that stuff. I was authentic and honest in my pitch. And Lee was gracious. And today I still know her. I'm still friends. And I do this all the time. All the time. Everyone else doesn't. Everyone else calls and gives a typical. I get calls from commercial brokers. They call me and say, oh, hey, Dave, there's a building down the street from you that's going to be available. I see that you're in your building and I'm with XYZ Real Estate, commercial brokerage. Would you be interested? And I'm like, get out of here. It sounds like, you know what cows do? They all get in line in the field, all the cattle, and one follows the other one, and they just do this. And they just walk, each one walks behind the other one like cows. And nobody steps out of the line because if somebody says, I think I'm going to try something else and go up on that hill, the other cows say, that won't work. Don't do that. Just get behind me. Do like me. And that's what they do. You got to shift it up. You got to get a differentiator. Okay, I don't know where my clock is. I ran my clock.
We're on step 4. Step 4.
That's step 4. I'm in step 5 already. What do you think?
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Step 4. Wait a minute. There is a step 4. It's called take a risk. If you're going to prospect, have a little fun with it. It's not the end of the world, for God's sakes. Take a risk. I covered this in the Mindset podcast we did with Colliers in Seattle with Bill and Matt. And I say, take a risk. And here's what I do in the classes. I say to people in the class, here's a case study. It's Friday at 4:30. You're calling for Bill Smith. The receptionist says, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith has left for the day. He's the CEO. It's Friday at 4:30. He's left for the day. You say, all right, well, perhaps I can try him on his business cell phone later. What's that number? And they give it to you. They just get, you say, all right, wouldn't do that. Yeah, they do. Some do, some don't. They give it to you. Now you have Bill's business cell number on a Friday at 4:30. Are you going to call Bill? And again, I ask the class. Half of them say, no, I wouldn't call. I'd wait till Monday. By Monday, a guy like me be playing golf with that guy. So they say, no, wait till Monday. Or I don't want to call him because he'll get mad. Or I wouldn't like it. Or he's leaving, going home to be with his family. They got all these stories that they tell you why they wouldn't call. Then I ask in the room, well, who would call? Then the other half of the room raise their hand. I'd call because it's 4:30. It's not 5 o'clock. And CEOs work relentless hours. Another person says, well, how do I know where he's going at 4:30? Maybe he's going to his other plant. He's still working. Another one would say, well, yeah, I'd call him because if I call him, he knows I'm still working. He's going to respect that and want to meet with me. So you got 2 different sides of the game. One person's taking a risk and the other person isn't because they have a belief, as we talked in our first podcast, that would be bad. The other people have a belief it'd be good. It's just insane to me. When I call them, then I up the ante and I say to the group, who would call on Saturday? Like Saturday. And I know that some people, they say, yeah, I'd call maybe around 11 in the morning, give this person time to get up. Maybe they're taking their kids to soccer. But yeah, I'd call Saturday between probably 11 and 2. And I tell them, if you called me on a Saturday and you're with Colliers and you said, yeah, Dave, my name's, Janet. I'm with Colliers, and I want to talk to you about your building, whether you're looking for to make a move or sell your building or lease a building or whatever. You know what I would say? You know what, Janet? I'm playing golf. It's my free time. I'm getting ready to tee off. So far, I'm having a horrible game. I'm not in a good mood, but I really like that you called me. I can't believe it. You're that on it. So here's what I'm telling you. I'm not talking to you right now. Call me Monday. I don't know if I'll buy from you, but I might want to hire you.
Awesome.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
That's right.
Now, would I call Sunday me? Nah, probably not. I mean, probably not. Unless I thought it was a big deal, I might call. Would I go
You
to
didn't
their
answer
house?
on Saturday.
Yeah.
Would I go to their house? Yeah, but I wouldn't climb the gate.
Yeah, you would.
I might.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's your 5 steps. Let's hit them real quick. Get to the EAP of the president. Don't go to where everybody lines up.
Yep.
The chip questions are going to come. Let them know it's regarding you. I'm sure if you mention your name, it'll be fine. Thank you. That way. If they say I don't believe he's in, just say, well, can we confirm that? Because you hear the word believe. He or she isn't available. When you say not available, is he in a meeting? Out, stepped away. I don't know. He hasn't answered his phone. Well, can we check? Let's page. We don't have a page system. Who sits near that can see if Bill's there? I really don't know. He's in another building. Or I do know. Let me connect you to Carol. Carol sits near. Whatever. Or what in the event they can't do that? What's Bill's business cell number? I'll reach him later. Don't know. Well, what's his direct line? In other words, I'm staying on the bull. I'm going to find out as much as I can on this call. And then I'm going to get to the EAP and I'm going to ask for Bill. And the EAP is going to say, well, doesn't do this. He doesn't handle our real estate. Someone else does that. So may I ask who that would be? And they say, well, that's Carol Johnson. And I said, well, I usually speak to the real estate director or the VP of finance. Which would you recommend? They say the real estate director. Great. Can you connect me? Then when I go over there, they're going to say to me, what's this regarding? The person answers their phone. And I'm going to say, I was speaking to Tony at Bill Smith's office, who recommended I speak to Carol. Like that. I mean, I know it's fast, but it'll be a podcast. You can hear it again. And if you want to know more, buy SOAR Selling, get the book. I don't make any money on it. I wish I made a lot of money on every book. But buy it. The answers are there. Or call me direct, or call Matt and Bill. They not only know about it, they've lived it. So I don't know where we are on our clock. Are we there, Matt?
We are there, Dave, and Dave's contact information will be in the show notes. Dave, you want to hit your contact information once more?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Telephone number 949-689 in Southern California, 689-8872, 949-689-8872. Our company is called Dialexis, which is a Greek word, which means dia means through, and Lexis means communicate. So through communication, because we're speakers and trainers. So our company is Dave at Dialexis, DIALEXIS is the sound, DIALEXIS.com. And you can text me, email me, or call me. You can call me at 2 a.m. I probably won't answer, but I like that you did it.
Call him on Sunday. How about that?
Yeah. You might be having a tough golf round. Dave, thank you. This is the second of 3 series that we're going to do with Dave Hibbard. So there will be one more, and be on the lookout for that. Dave, appreciate your time and insight and expertise. We'll look forward to the next one.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, real quick before we sign off, I just want to tell you the next one coming is on value statements. What do you say when you make contact? That's a toughie. So thanks, Bill.
That is a
Thanks,
toughie.
Matt.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Look forward to the next show.
Okay. Life of choice.